Well, thank you so incredibly much for your time. Congratulations on the series because it truly is an exceptional work across the board and one of the best shows I've seen in some time. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here with you both. I genuinely feel it because high school manages to bring layers to each character, giving them time to be people. And the journey for everyone, Patrick and Simone included, is so compelling because everyone is trying, like they're trying to exist, do the right thing, say the right things, but they mess up. Like Simone and Patrick are equally challenged by Tegan and Sara throughout the series. So I'm curious what initially surfaced for you both in discovering that in the script that the parents are not put on the back burner and they're not just supportive players, but they really get to play.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with the format of our show, which is really
Hmm.
taken from the biography itself, which is written in the same way where we take an event and then one chapter is written from Tegan's point of view, and then the next chapter is written from Sara's point of view of the same moment. So they carried that on into the show, and I think what that gives us is the opportunity to explore a moment that we've all witnessed as an audience and we've already drawn our own conclusions of. And then we get to kind of flip it upside down and see it from
Right.
the character who is in the same room from their point of view. And I think it allows you to sort of reevaluate moments and take sort of the guesswork out of it and become truly an audience member and really witness everything as a fully fleshed moment.
Hmm.
So I think that certainly helps us when getting our characters to seem really nuanced and really layered. I also think it's good writing. I think it's a really good story from the get-go. And I think it's relatable on multiple levels. So I think
Hmm.
all of those elements kind of set us up to be a solid experience.
Yeah, just the book, and I really do encourage people to read the book. It's
Hmm.
just in and of itself, it's a really great read because of the way it's so. They really open themselves up. They really, in telling their story of themselves as teenagers, coming of age, finding their sexuality, experimenting, and finding music. They do it in such a revealing way about themselves, in such a vulnerable way where they're not painting themselves as better than they are. They're often their worst selves with each other. And I think to your point about layering and the complexities of these characters, I think the what the scripts did amazingly is that a book and scripts are different beasts. The book is laid out in a way that allows Tegan and Sara to be themselves and talk about their parents as themselves, and we all have different colors. And then the scripts and the way that Clea and Laura wrote the scripts are so smart in how they then translate that to the format of a half-hour dramedy,
Right.
where we still get that nuance, we still understand. And I think it just strengthens the story of Tegan and Sara to see that the parents are complex in and of themselves. If they were just, squawking Charlie Brown parents off to the side, they'd be too easy to dismiss. But the fact that there's a wonderful scene at one point, I won't say too much about, where the kid sees Simone having her own human moment. And so often when we're teenagers, we
Yeah.
don't see our parents as people. They're just a mom and a dad. And when you that moment we all have in our late teen years, early 20s, we're like, oh, that's right, my mom's a real person. This show does really beautiful things like that and just helps strengthen the sort of A stories of Tegan and Sara and the high school experience.
Yeah, yeah. I think that multidimensionality is going to be very interesting for audiences who I kind of wish I could go back in time and bring this show with me just to see as a teenager, what would I get out of it exactly? How
Yeah.
would it inform those years? But also as a parent now, I look at it and I see, yeah, it's equally a two-way street for them
Yeah.
as it should be for them as well, or for me as it is for them. And so,
Yeah.
really interesting to see like where these conversations may go for people who watch it.
I think you're right. And I think it's going to lead to those that sign of reflection that you just talked about.
Yeah. One of the things that I really think hits home is when Tegan and Sara would, bring friends over and they would go through their room and they would see what kind of people they are. Some of it would be, very surprising. If I may ask, what did teenage Cobie and Kyle's bedrooms look like? What posters were on your walls? And what were your friends most surprised to discover about you through that?
Hmm.
Well, I think it's such a fun, it's such a Your teenage bedroom is so funny
Yeah.
because it's like, there are like parts of it that are private, but because as a teenager you invite so many of your buddies in there, like it becomes slightly presentational.
Yeah.
So like, I remember like a lot of collages, like a lot of
It was the age of collage art. In the 90s was.
a lot of collage art. And so there would be like, like vision boards or something of what I liked. But also it was like making sure that every friend is represented in a photo, and like and just feeling like your room wanted to make you feel like you were cool,
Yeah.
And it's so funny because like I go into my kids' rooms now. I mean, they're not that old yet, but it's a mess. Like it is a full on disaster, and there isn't the same kind of pride. And I don't know if it's just because we're coming out of pandemic and like not too many people are over at our houses anymore. But I remember like as a teenager, it was like, gotta have that beanbag chair. So there was that neon pink beanbag with my lava lamp, and I had like a mini fridge that was like, had, sodas in it, pops.
Snacks in the freezer.
And just Nirvana posters, cool posters, but it was all in servitude of what I thought was cool, not necessarily like what I liked. Like it took me getting into my 30s till I was like, I actually don't like that. Why is that in my room, So I find that funny about like sort of a teenage bedrooms, certainly from back in the day.
Yeah. Well,
You're also staking a claim against your parents too. You're like,
yeah.
that is me and only me. And the minute they like it, I'll take it down. Like just
stack of CDs, right? And
plenty
of CDs. I don't know why we called it this, but did anyone else call it a ghetto blaster? Because that's what I called it.
It would have been. Yeah. There was a era of that was the term. Yeah, we call them jam boxes.
I don't know where that term came from, but that's what we.
I think it used to be like the cliche late '80s, like holding it on, And I think we called it. I remember calling it a jam box, and then I used that term too late in like early 2000s. Someone said, "Did you just say jam box?" That was the term we would use for a CD. And if your friend or someone had like the multiple CD changer, that was a big deal. You'd put 5 CDs and hit shuffle, and you'd hear everything from Pavement to Radio.
Yeah, that was the big screen TV of the day.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I have so many things that I would love to ask you. I love the music, and Cobie, I don't think you're going to look cooler than jamming Tori Amos. So it's really awesome. And the use of slow dive. Please thank everybody who included that. That was awesome.
Yeah.